And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Me and Odie were talking, getting the day going. Already 6:30. As I mentioned in the comments, this is Meridian Day. Things will get underway at the Neshoba County Fair here shortly. If you're watching from the Neshoba County Fair today, good morning. It's going to be hot. It's going to be good. 96. Heat index of 100 before it's all said and done. But uniquely, this is one of those years that we hadn't had a lot of floods. Usually that red mud's blowing and going up there. So far, good. We got some rain forecasted toward the weekend. We'll get into that breakdown here in just a little bit. I do hope you're feeling good and you got a good spirit about yourself today. I've had 2 cups. We're getting ready for the 3rd. I'm a lot better person with it. I truly am. Makes me happier. Odie's sipping on his over to our right over here. We'll get things underway. Let's get things started with a good word. We always need some Jesus in our lives, and I do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a minute and listen to this. Brother Ben's here to share a few messages. I've been talking to him back and forth this week. What a great man. They're going to have church tonight. Door's going to be opening up a little after 6. I hope you'll join them if you need a church. Maybe just something good going on in your life. Drop in and visit with him. Here's Brother Ben.
Waiting is incredibly difficult for us, isn't it? A poet once wrote, "Desperately, helplessly, longingly I cried. Quietly, patiently, lovingly, God replied. I pled and I wept for a clue for my fate, and the Master so gently said, 'Wait.'" "Wait, you say, wait?" my indignant reply. "Lord, I need answers. I need to know why. Is your hand shortened, or have you not heard? By faith I've asked, and I'm claiming your word." Does that sound familiar to you? Waiting's hard, but we learn in Romans 4 from Apostle Paul that waiting is actually one of the ways we demonstrate our faith in God. And he uses Abraham and Sarah as an example of this truth. You see, God made a promise to Abraham when he was 75 years old and when Sarah was 65, that God would bless them and their offspring. Now that's an awesome promise, but there was only one problem. They didn't have any offspring. And to make the problem worse, Abraham was old and as good as dead, as the scripture said, and Sarah was way past childbearing years. Yet God made them a promise that they together would bear offspring. But God didn't fulfill that promise right away. No, like he often does with us, he made them wait. In fact, he made them wait 25 years. Their son Isaac wasn't born until Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90. It was a miraculous and glorious way for God to make good on his promise. And their waiting demonstrated their faith. Now, they didn't wait perfectly or have perfect faith. They wavered. They had some really serious missteps. But in the end, the Bible says that their faith, evidenced by their waiting, was counted to them as righteousness. So, beloved, are you waiting on a promise from God? Know that I promise you, he'll make good on it. And in the meantime, in your waiting, may it be counted to you as righteousness. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. We're going over what happened last night. Odie and I were discussing a few things. Got some things that happened in Marion. I do urge you, if you live in the city, check your cars. We had a bunch of mischief. And what I mean by mischief, that's not the correct word. Oh, yeah, break-ins, criminals breaking in cars throughout the city, taking things that were on the seat. Check your car if you live within the city. We don't need any of that, and call the Meridian Police Department should you have an issue. I'd be glad to do that. As we turn to some headline news this morning, I don't keep up with Kansas football. I've never watched them, but apparently there's a few that do. NBC News reporting this morning. And let me show this guy's picture as I pull this up from NBC News. Kansas City lineman is charged in connection with alleged bomb threat, and they had to evacuate a stadium. Now, why would this man do it? He's a full-grown man. Why? Fear of losing a game? Kids used to do calls like that to get out of school. An investigation is underway. I'm sure they'll find out, but that's not something taken lightly. If they can prove he done it, I'm sure there's going to be some serious charges involved with that. Yeah, it's college. Indiana this morning, we see that 2 parents are charged. Why? A 5-year-old little boy was fatally shot by his brother. Now, accidents happen, but as they get into this, the child had cocaine in his system. It tells us somebody wasn't being mom and dad, doesn't it? Charges will most likely be a lot worse before this investigation is done. How sad that is. Hate to even report things like that. Amazon recalling some cups. If you've got a Cupkin children's cup, they've tested it and it's got a little bit too much lead in it. They're returning this, and I'm sure it's a full refund on this. But check that out. If you bought that from Amazon, they're recalling all of these. Can't have anything like that with our children. So check into that if you've got any of that. Now, this is one of those, I read the headlines, and I get it that they're just trying to explain things, but it makes me go, duh. As we look at Texas, as population changes, as each year the census, well, every 10 years, y'all know how the census is done. For the first time, it now shows that Latinos have surpassed the white population in Texas. That's no shock. Now, if you were, and it's barely, I mean, it's just barely over the mark. It's like 39.8 to 40%. But if you were to really break that down and then add in the illegals that are in the state of Texas, it would be way surpass that. You think they're counting that? Odie thinks they're counting in that. Changes. Texas is. The big cities in Texas, Austin, all of these, to where rural Texas is just like, well, Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana, they have our way of thinking. But the large cities, Austin, Dallas, they are changing. They are changing. Y'all watch this. As I traveled about before I came back into broadcasting, I had to work in Ohio for 7 or 8 months. And I'm from Mississippi. I've never hung around people from Ohio before, and you have that stigma. It's north of the Mason-Dixon line, and, well, they don't think like us. The interesting thing about that was the cities, just like Austin, Texas, they did think that way. But you get to the rural route, I met so many good people. I'm telling you, as you go up through there, they think just like us. They just lived in a different part, and they sound a little funny. They did. I tried to help them out with their language up there. I don't think I affected them too much. But they're good people. All across the United States, they're that way. No matter where you live, there are good people. It's our larger cities that's what's brought these people that don't want law, that don't want, I don't get it. America's got to stand fast. And the only way to do that legally is through the election system. It all starts next week. Study up, make sure you cast your vote correctly. And I want that to happen. I won't touch deep into this. I just throw my opinions of this. They've arrested another person, January 6th rider, going to spend the next 18 months in jail. Now, I don't know what the guy did. I don't know whether he stood outside or if he went inside. They use words like stormed and all of this with anybody in connection with this. What they have proven is if you protest and you don't have their opinion, you will go to jail. That is the side note that I see on all of this. Whether it was right or wrong, if you go against the system, you will end up in jail. And I think that is the strong message that is being sent from all of that.
When you speak the truth and talk about God, you get kicked off too.
Yeah, you will get kicked out of things if you speak the truth. And more and more we do see this. If you are a Christian, you're being persecuted. I see this every day in everything that goes on. The more you stand up, and I promise y'all, it may not be in my lifetime, it may be in my children's or my grandchildren, but there will be a time in this United States to where neighbors will turn against neighbors that are Christians. They will turn you in for being a Christian. That day is coming. It's not here yet. As we see now that in the United States, as we do polls, for the first time this last year, we saw that Christianity has dropped below 50%. They don't want the good word of the Lord out there. And that day will come. I hate to even say that, but y'all mark my word, I may be dead and gone when all of that goes on. But it's coming. It's coming. What was that song? I heard the trumpet sounding, and now I see his face. Been a while since I heard that. As this is peculiar, we go to North Carolina. This is near a military base. We have 3 Marines that have been found in a car outside a gas station. All 3 deceased. They're not telling what happened. All the police are saying there's an investigation into it. Let's hope nothing bad went down. As soon as we get more information of that, we will pass that along also. High school. 5 Florida staffers at a high school are in trouble. A student came to him and said, I was sexually assaulted at school. They done nothing. They're going to end up being charged over this. It's sort of like, what was that not long ago, Odie? We had the teacher that was shot. They all went to the authorities and said, this child has a gun, and they never went and inspected. We got to get some big boy britches on back in our nation again.
We do.
We talked about the Twitter sign being changed on the side of the street. They got halted. Now, the name of the company has already changed, but lo and behold, as they got to, this is such a serious crime. I don't ever want you to do this, Odie, ever. Don't you be taking out a sign without having a permit to do it. They stopped it dead in the tracks. They'll have to get the permit to remove the letters off of the sign. We are permitted out in the United States. Y'all ever catch on to this? It's one thing after another. But that's the facts of what's going on there as we look at that. Let's see what else. We got some bigger stories also coming up as we get ready for the holidays and all this COVID stuff is over. Our next big one is going to be Thanksgiving, as people will take back to the air. Pete Buttigieg, how do you pronounce his last name? Pete Buttigieg. Y'all know who I'm talking about, that guy. They've done an analysis, and they've finally admitting they're short 32,000 pilots in the United States, and that's why we keep having all these layover at airports. 32,000 short. Reckon why? What I don't want them to start doing is going, well, let's make this test a little bit easier here, and y'all come on in and get a job. That scares me. That is not a job that you give because you know their cousin. Don't do that. It will end up very bad for us. Coming up, we're going to check your forecast, get deep into what's coming up with all of this next as we start your day.
Same old sound, and no one's answering. Vote for change. Vote Ben Shirley, District 81 representative, on August 8th. Ben will answer the phone. Ben will get answers in Jackson for District 81. Ben will create jobs and promote economic development for East Mississippi.
I'm Ben Shirley, and I'm asking for your vote in the August 8th Republican primary.
Vote Ben, District 81, August 8th. Paid for by Ben Shirley.
The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Hello, my name's Kenneth Graham, and I'm running for coroner of Lauderdale County. For over 50 years, Lauderdale County's been represented by professional and competent coroners. I would like to continue that tradition. Over the next several months, I want to educate the public on what the coroner does and dispel any myths about the coroner job. I can show you that I will be the most professional coroner there is. So please vote for me August the 8th.
Paid for by the Committee for the Election of Kenneth Graham. We welcome Kathy Spence joining us from Decatur. How are you this morning? Donna is up. Also, Miss Eldridge. How are you? Glad to see you. LaWanda joins us. Dorothy Ford. Terry Ray is up. Oh, the list goes on and on. Ann Hall, good morning to you. Alyssa, Roy, Terry. So many of you. Penelope, good to see you also. Again, we've got a big show coming up at 7 o'clock. We don't want you to miss any of this. We'll go over what's happened in our counties over the last 24 hours. We got that on the way. Let's get into our forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Finger wasn't fast enough, was it? As we look at our record highs and record lows, 1987, record high of 99 today. We'll be within 3 degrees of that as we expect 96. On the cooler side of life, back in 1911, it was 59 degrees if you were here when it woke up. Now, you'd have a little age on you if you were here then. As we look at today, 98 on that thermometer, 97 through Philadelphia, and we should see about 98 there at the Neshoba County Fairgrounds. As we go north through Noxapater and up through Louisville to around Columbus and Stark Vegas, we should see 96 in those areas. Southward, 96 in Natchez, Mississippi, Brookhaven, even 95. It'll be warmer with the Hattiesburg way. As we go to Bamaland, it looks like Tuscaloosa, 96, 95 in Demopolis, and we should see about 96 in Livingston, Alabama as well today. Now, this is the 5-day outlook. Look at Friday, and we'll look at the weekend there, Saturday through Monday. It's going to be hot and disturbing as we go into this. Heat indexes on Friday should be around 105. As we get into the weekend, we could see as high as 110 for the entire area. So if you've got work to do, and I know there's a lot of outside events that will be happening this weekend, plenty of water, stay hydrated, make sure to watch yourself. If you're going to be cutting grass or fooling with things like that, finish up by 8 a.m., start late after 7 o'clock. It'll be a little bit cooler there for you is what we want you to take care of. Look at this. It's right on top of us, a heat wave. It stretches from here, Louisiana, Alabama, a little bit of Georgia, and even the northwest corner of Florida has hot weather. We've got this for the next 6 to 10 days. As we look at this forecast here, as we do peg at 96, 0% chance of rain. As I mentioned in the Neshoba County Fair, it's got these small chances, but nothing huge like we've had. Over the weekend is our biggest chance on Sunday at 20% and Monday at 20%. Today, for Meridian Day up there, 0% chance of rain. Pretty good day, isn't it? Not bad at all. As we glance here, let's go all the way through August the 9th, as temperatures will peak at somewhere around 99 to 100 on the 4th of August. And then we're dropping a little bit as we get into the 8th and 9th, the low 90s. Now, I didn't say anything about 80s, but I did say 91. Rain chances are up is the only reason it'll cause that. As we look at this morning, this is fading away with a 0% chance of happening now. We do have another one coming off the coast of Africa, has a 30% chance of developing into something. So far, we have been extremely lucky in the Gulf of Mexico and no hurricanes this year. Aren't y'all glad? Let's keep our fingers crossed that we have a low year of this. Some bad stuff there. As we go to our fishing forecast, our major time today started just a few moments ago, about 15 minutes ago, and will run until about 8:40 this morning. Great fishing. Now, your next time will be late this afternoon, right at dark at 7 o'clock, and run until about 9 o'clock. That wind's going to be calm, south-southeast, around 5 miles an hour if you're going to be fishing, so you know how to handle all of that. We are just about 10 minutes away from going live. Odie's standing by. He's ready. We want to get another cup of coffee, and we'll be back to join you with the latest and greatest headlines that are going on in the neighborhood. If you see something, always let us know, and we'll report back. We'll dig into all of this and let you know what's going on. We appreciate everything you do to make us your first choice. You do. From headline news to weather, we're here behind the scenes at all times. We'll be back beginning at 7 in just a few moments. Thanks for joining us this morning.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: